Mr. Harris, I think we're waiting for just a few cabinet members, if you don't mind holding for just a moment.
Oh, not a problem.
I think I'm gonna try to reach out to them.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Board of Education regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, May 11th, and the time is 7:03. I understand we do have a quorum. Unless I'm wrong, Mr. Moore is not in attendance, nor is Mrs. Assegai. Everybody else is in the house. So I'm calling this meeting to order and ask that you please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Friedman, would you read our opening statement, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. As Secretary of the Bloomfield Board of Education, I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present and to our television viewers. The board, superintendent, and I are pleased that you have joined us as we celebrate achievement, review information, and make policy decisions related to the effective operation of the Bloomfield Public Schools. This is a regular meeting, and all items that will be discussed or voted on this evening have been posted as required by state law. As the Bloomfield Board of Education, we are here to set goals, listen to reports of the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. We are not here to make management decisions or solve the problems of individuals. Management is the responsibility of the superintendent. Meetings of the board are open to the public. It is a time when the board conducts its business of governing the school system in a public arena. The regular meetings are not meetings with the public. Therefore, comments from the audience will be confined to the time designated for the public to address the board. Decorum and courtesy are important elements in effective public meetings. Please silence your cell phones or communication devices and refrain from talking while others are speaking. Since it is legally mandated that proceedings be accurately recorded, the board chair may have to ask for order periodically should noise begin to interfere with our recording capabilities. I am pleased that you have taken the time this evening to join us. We are very proud of the school system and thank you for your interest in the Bloomfield Public Schools. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Friedman. Before we move to item 4 on our agenda, I want to take this opportunity to mention the recent passing of a longtime teacher in our school system, specifically over at Laurel School, Judy Johnson. Her funeral was, I believe, last week. She had been with us for almost 3 decades, and her services will be sorely missed. So I ask you to please take a moment of silence in memory of Judy Johnson. Thank you. Item number 4 on our agenda is the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes, regular meeting, April 6, 2021. Mrs. Bolton?
I move that the Bloomfield Board of Education approve the minutes for the April 6, 2021 regular board meeting as presented.
Second. It's been properly moved and second. Are there any edits or corrections that need to be made? Any edits? Hearing none? Yes.
No, I was just saying they were a lot of minutes last time, 8 pages. So thank you, Krista.
You know what, though? I was reviewing some minutes of another school system in the state that had 29 pages of minutes. So never mind, that's a conversation for another time. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? It is so ordered. Recognitions, CABE Student Leadership Award recipients. Dr. Thompson.
Good evening, members of the board, colleagues, families, and our viewing audience joining us virtually. The agenda item under recognitions is the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education Student Leadership Award presentations. This annual award program recognizes students in the middle and high school who exhibit exemplary leadership skills. To qualify as a recipient of this award, students must demonstrate diplomacy, be willing to take challenges, possess the ability to work with others, and have the capacity to make difficult decisions. Students' awards will be mailed to your home this week. Now, if you would please welcome Dr. Trevor Ellis, Principal of Common Race Middle School, who will present the first awards.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent, Dr. Thompson, and our viewing audience. My first recipient for the CABE Award is Charles Fennell. Charles is a hardworking student who consistently achieves high honors. He shows leadership in the Enhanced Distance Learning Program, actively participating in all classes. He has the confidence to share his opinions, offering insight and wisdom in class topics. Charles shows respect to his peers as well as adults, and in return, he is well respected in the school community. Last year, Charles played basketball on the school basketball team and also won the Carmen Aries Middle School Spelling Bee. This year, Charles won the first ever virtual Connecticut Spelling Bee and played a key role in the Black History Month and Harlem Renaissance celebration. Congratulations, Mr. Charles Fennell.
Thank you for the recognition.
In true Charles Fennell form. Our next recipient of the CABE Award includes Mahogany Wilson Little. Mahogany is a determined, conscientious student who strives for perfection in her classes. She goes above and beyond class expectations and has been known to ask for help even when she has an A+ in a class. Mahogany has achieved over a 4.0 each marking period, but improved her grade point average each marking period as well. Mahogany shows leadership by example, holding herself above distractions and maintaining a laser-like focus on her academics. Last year, Mahogany participated in the school choir. This year, she played a key role in the Black History Month and Harlem Renaissance celebration. Congratulations, Mahogany Wilson Little.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ellis. I appreciate your recognition for Mahogany. As a mom, I am very proud of her, and she will continue with the support of Bloomfield to become more and more valuable as she grows through the system. Thank you.
Very welcome. At this point, I would like to introduce Mr. Jeff Bernabe, Principal of GEMS.
Good evening, Dr. Thompson and Board of Education members, and also to our viewing audience. I'm pleased to recognize Aminata Mohamedou, She's a junior at GEMS. I can tell you on a personal level, she always strives to just exhibit nothing more than what is her best. Her teachers often report that she's actually takes on the more challenging assignments that her teachers offer her. During group work, her teachers just describe how she leads her peers through any group activities that they have throughout the class. She's often, giving a deep analysis when her class is going into class discussions. Aminata is also an active member of our National Honor Society, and she spends, much of her time with her members there in the Honor Society, engaging and with her service projects throughout the year. Congratulations, Aminata.
Thank you.
Our next recipient is senior Aiden Gibbs. This year, Aiden Gibbs, he's just shown a lot of persistence. He is a distance learner with this year, and I can tell you that in engaging in his capstone project, his teacher could not say enough positive things about him. He chose a challenging topic, which is Black literature in society. And despite the challenge in finding resources on this, he has persisted and persisted to create what is going to be an engaging and just educational paper. So we're really thrilled about that. I know that his teachers report he always has insightful analysis and that he's an active participant in class. In what's been just a challenging learning environment, he does remain persistent. He's open-minded, which helps not only himself to grow, but he also helps his peers grow. Aiden Gibbs is a leader within GEMS. So congratulations, Aiden.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well earned. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Dan Maletti, the principal of Bloomfield High School.
Thank you, Mr. Bernabe. Thank you, Board Chair, Mr. Harris, Board of Education members, Dr. Thompson, Cabinet, and our viewing audience. I am pleased and proud to introduce the 2021 CABE Leadership Award winners for Bloomfield High School, Ms. Lydia Nyarko and Mr. Denzel Patrick. I will first start with Lydia. Lydia is a high honors student who ranks in the top of her class. She's an academically gifted young woman who transferred to Bloomfield High School midway through 9th grade from Ghana. Lydia has a cumulative grade point average of a 3.89 and has taken a rigorous schedule of advanced placement, UConn, and honors level classes throughout her school career. She's a student who makes the most of opportunities available to her and is actively involved in the Bloomfield High School community. Lydia is a valuable member of the Young Women's Leadership, secretary of the Multicultural Club, a member of the National Honor Society, and a student athlete on our softball team. She is a well-rounded, hardworking young woman who hopes to pursue a career in the medical field. Congratulations, Lydia.
Thank you.
Next, I'm proud to introduce Mr. Denzel Patrick. Denzel ranks in the top 15 of his class. He's actually a student of the Donald F. Harris Senior Agri-Science and Technology Center, where he participates in courses that focus on the study of animals and has earned him college credit in those courses. Denzel is a true student athlete who finds the perfect balance between his academics and athletics. He's a member of the Bloomfield High School chapter of the National Honor Society and a varsity captain of our football team, which won the state championship in 2019. Denzel will attend the University of Albany next year, where he'll compete in Division I football on an athletic scholarship. Congratulations, Denzel. I believe Denzel is actually competing as we speak up on our track right now in a track meet. So I'll accept this on his behalf, but would like to say I admire both of our award winners, and they well represent Bloomfield High School in the town of Bloomfield. I personally wish nothing but the best for them next year and in the future. So I'd like to thank you all, and I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you so much, Mr. Maletti, and all of our principals. Those are some outstanding students. Just goes to show you what great work is being produced here in Bloomfield. Next on our agenda is the announcement of our new Director of Facilities, Mr. Robinson.
Good evening, Chairman Harris, Board of Education members, Superintendent Thompson, and Zoom audience. I ask you to give a warm Bloomfield welcome to our new Director of Facilities, Mr. Kenneth Wallach, who prefers to go by the name Kenny. Mr. Wallach has been on the job for more than a month now and has made an immediate impact from taking over some major facilities department projects and summer planning to beautification, including flowers and new landscaping to welcome central office visitors. Mr. Wallach has 34 years of experience in the facilities industry. Prior to coming to Bloomfield, he was a project manager working in the Stamford Public Schools, providing the district with building automation, mechanical, and energy efficiency service, as well as working on construction projects. He has also dealt with healthy school ventilation assessments and prepared for school opening in the fall of 2020 by performing comprehensive district-wide ventilation surveys and coordinated implementation of COVID-related ventilation improvements. We look forward to Kenny continuing the excellent leadership of our fine facilities department. And Kenny is on the call, and while I hate to put him on the spot, Kenny, did I miss anything?
No, thank you, John. I'd like to thank Dr. Thompson for giving me this opportunity. And it's kind of difficult to follow after all of those awards. It's nice to know that Bloomfield has that kind of academic excellence. And I hope that in this role, managing facilities, that we can support that kind of excellence by having first-class facilities.
Okay. Well, my congratulations to you on coming to our school district. As many of you know, I have a long history with the Bloomfield Public Schools, and I understand you've been on the job for a month, but everybody I have talked to in the past month have nothing but accolades to give out on your behalf.
Thank you.
And without saying anything more, thank you. And hope you're here for the long haul, my friend.
Well, I plan on it, and thank you. I appreciate that. And, you know, I would offer to anyone on this Zoom meeting or anyone on the board, if you have any facilities concerns or any issues, to please let me know. Our goal, we've changed the direction, and our focus is to be basically customer service oriented and to be responsive to staff members and administrators when they have issues. If we can't resolve them immediately, we can at least get back to them and let them know that we're working on it. And so if anyone has any issues at all, don't hesitate letting me know. And, you know, I promise to, at a minimum, be responsive.
That's the kind of good news I've been hearing from staff, that you are a man of your word.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the board?
Just wanted to say congratulations and welcome. Looking forward to working with you.
Thank you. Likewise.
And I'd like to just say the same thing. Thank you so much for accepting the position, and welcome to Bloomfield.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Where were you working before?
I was
Did I
working.
miss it?
I was working as an outside vendor assigned specifically to the Stamford Public Schools.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I probably missed that in the intro.
Okay. It's time for the student representative report coming from the Bloomfield High. And we have 3 student reps tonight: JD Hoyt, Leanne Labad, and Yurlitz Salgado Luciano. Ladies, you have the floor.
Hello. Next slide, the next slide, please. All right, my name is JD Hoyt, and I'm a senior. Okay, but anyways, onto the slide. So as you guys know, decision day was May 1st, and as seniors, all 3 of us, we have all made our college decisions. So I'm going to UConn, and then the other girls will announce where they're going as well.
I'm going to UConn
I
as
will
well.
sorry, Leanne. I will be attending UMass in Boston.
Yeah.
Next slide.
Like we just announced, Leanne and JD are going to UConn, and I'll be attending UMass Boston. I just want to share, I think I'll be majoring in interior design for sure, and pre-architecture maybe on the side.
Oh, okay. I'm majoring in allied health to become a physician's assistant.
And I'm majoring in psychology.
Okay, next slide. So now we're in spring with COVID-19 and sports are continuing. Senior Tyler Wesley breaks school records in the 800. He's track. Softball starts the season with 2 big wins over Weaver and Hartford Public, and girls track team is undefeated in conference meets. Next slide. Oh, that's not supposed to be there.
Oh yeah, you can skip this slide.
Yeah.
All right, so for this slide, last board meeting, we had talked about some of our students going to the National Otis Made to Move Communities International Competition. And the students who participated were Joshua Brown, Lydia Narco, Brianna Barkley, Brittany and Brianna Washington. And we won first place. Their competition was 14 schools across 9 countries and regions. And these students basically use STEM skills to break down barriers to mobility for aging population, simplifying grocery delivery and shopping in markets amid the pandemic, also making city infrastructure more bicycle friendly and monitoring crowd density at popular tourist destinations. And then second place was the school in Brazil, and then third place went to the school in Long Beach, California. Next slide.
BHS seniors Jemiah, Lindo, and Denzel Patrick were named CIS and CIAC Scholar Athletes for the class of 2021. They both rank at the top of their class, and they participate in multiple varsity sports at BHS. And Jemiah Lindo is the valedictorian for our class this year, 2021. Next slide.
So this year's CAS High School Arts Award went to Jonelle Thompson and Seda Cottaholder, and they got this award for their passion and dedication to art. Next slide, please.
So for the National Honor Society, BHS has inducted 25 new members this year, and they're hosting that induction ceremony in the upcoming school year during the fall. And it mostly consists of juniors, and one of the largest induction ceremonies that Bloomfield is having. Next slide, please.
On April 30th, BHS has had its annual Homer Ferguson luncheon that will go to senior students. That was held by Chef Paul and Coach T. Reed. All proceeds is for a scholarship, and it will go to, it's a yearly tradition, which is a great benefit for us as students in BHS. Next slide.
So this year is, for graduation, it's a little different because of COVID. It will be held outside in the courtyard, right outside the library. And this is BHS 101 graduation class, I guess you would say. And yeah, it's going to be social distance. We're going to have a lot of fun, and I'm just excited to see my class graduate. Next slide.
So just some other news at BHS. So on the 14th, Q4 progress reports are coming out. On the 18th, there's a PTO meeting at 5:30 p.m. On the 19th, there's an NGSS testing. on June 7th, the annual Scholastic Awards ceremony at 5 p.m. And on June 16th, as Leanne just mentioned, the graduating ceremony or the commencement ceremony at 12 p.m.
That's all. Any questions, anyone?
Any board questions for our student reps?
Yes, I just want to congratulate the student reps on their higher education, and you have some footsteps to follow. Dr. Lamar Coleman, he's a PhD, he's assistant dean at Eastern, and Ricardo Salmon, he's an attorney in New York. They were former student reps to the Board of Education. So I wish you two the best in your future academically.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other board comments?
Just wanted to say thank you, ladies, for the report. You did an awesome job. As usual, we get the best of these students. So glad to hear that we're able to, compete in the Otis competition. STEM is so important, and I'm really happy to see that our schools are supporting that because it is huge. And also glad to hear that so many are going to UConn. Yay, go Huskies! That's my alma mater. So good luck, ladies.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Other board members? Other comments? I will just add my congratulations to all three of you. I've enjoyed your presentations all year long, and good luck to you as you begin your college career next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now is the time for public or PTO comment. If you wish to comment, you need to identify yourself, and you will have 2 minutes for a statement. Is there anyone out there? You have to unmute yourself first. Is there anybody out there would like to make a public comment? Going once. Going twice. Thank you very much, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you.
Superintendent's report.
Yeah, thank you. Health and safety update. We are monitoring daily the COVID-19 health trends in town and in the region. A free COVID-19 vaccination clinic for town students 16 years and older was held Saturday, May 8th. This initiative was a collaboration among Bloomfield, the West Hartford Bloomfield Health District, Hartford Healthcare, and Bloomfield Leisure Community Services. Wendy Shepherd-Danish, our COVID-19 liaison, will provide an update on vaccinations. School schedule information. District students currently engaged in 4 days a week of in-school instruction will be transitioning to 5 days a week of in-school instruction effective Monday, May 17th. This expanded schedule will include an early release day on Wednesdays. This format will continue until the end of the current school year. And our decision was based on declining COVID-19 infection rates in Connecticut, increasing numbers of residents who are getting vaccinated in the state, and the need to no longer dedicate Wednesdays to deep cleaning of our school buildings based on relaxed Center for Disease Control and Prevention guidelines. Ongoing sanitation and cleaning will continue on a daily basis, and students who are currently learning remotely in the district will continue to do so for the remainder of the school year. Portrait of a graduate. The district is continuing our work on the development of a portrait of a graduate. Since our last board meeting, we have completed the first round of forms. The goal of these forms is to receive input from our community on the necessary skills and characteristics our students need to prosper in the 21st century. We heard from various stakeholders, including Board of Education, district staff, town council, town and district partners, families, faith-based organization, business leaders, and those from higher education. Tonight, you will hear an update from Anne Marie Cullinan, curriculum specialist, Jason Teitelbaum, district data systems coordinator. In addition, we are excited to have Bloomfield parent and member of the Portrait of Graduate Design team, Tiffany Glanville, who will share her perspective. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Any comments, board members? Okay. Financial report, Mr. Guzman. Are we doing okay?
Yes, we are. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Good evening, members of the board. This April 2021 report is as of May 6, 2021. The one-page summary report shows a balance of approximately $971,000 or 2.19% of the entire budget that has yet to be expended or encumbered. On the one-page summary report, major account 01, certified salaries, is over the budgeted amount by $50,225. This is because the receivable for April has yet to be booked. And also we have encumbered the spring stipends for our athletic coaches since the last monthly report. Also on the one-page summary report, major account 08, tuition, is over the budgeted amount by a negative $26,474 because we recently had students move into the district who are currently placed in out-of-district transitional programming that will need to be continued next year. Last month, this account was showing a balance of a positive $44,802. It just goes to show the volatility of this particular account. Page 4 of the detailed report shows the totals of the 3 sub-accounts that make up the tuition account. You can see that tuition public, tuition private, and then tuition magnet are all listed there. 2 of those 3 are reporting negative balances at this particular point. And then at the top of page 5 of the detailed report, account 6110, instructional supplies. The account shows a balance that has decreased by $22,000 from the previous month's report. This is in preparation, schools getting in preparing for the return to in-person learning 5 days a week that Dr. Thompson mentioned a few moments ago. So that particular account has been utilized by the various schools in preparation for the 5 days a week of instruction. Finally, I want the board members to know that at this time of the fiscal year, we have asked the cost center managers to close out any open purchase orders and encumbrances that they may be in their control to begin the budgeting closeout process, since we have 6 weeks left in this fiscal year. Mr. Harris, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guzman. Any questions? Yes, Mrs. Bolton?
Yeah, I
And then
just wanted to
Mrs.
ask.
Eastman. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Mr. Guzman if this is around the same time that principals and and leaders are asked to close out the budgets. Is this around the same time of the year?
Yes, every year we send out a notice at the beginning of May to all the cost center managers, which include the principals as well as the directors of the various accounts that they manage. So this is a typical year-end procedure. Yes.
Okay. No, I was just asking if anything was different about it. So
Yep.
since everything else has been different this year. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Ms. Eastman,
Thank you. Just wondering if the accounts that are in the negative, do we think we're going to catch up by the end of the year? Because I know the teacher salary one, that's kind of been off for most of the time here for this year. Just wondering, how are we going to reconcile that? What's going to happen, toward the end of the year? Are we thinking that any of these negative accounts will be pulled back up?
Well, in that particular account, we still are awaiting some receivables to come in, tuition receivables from other districts that pay for tuition. So those receivables will come in as revenue and take care of that particular account. There may be some accounts, some sub accounts that may show a negative at the year end. And those are the accounts that we'll have to balance out through transfers and the such. But for the most part, if you look at the 6-page report, some of the negatives are on this, except for 08 tuition. Some of the accounts are are overbalanced by a couple of $1,000s. So we anticipate that some of them may be taken care of by some revenues coming in. But in other cases, there'll be some transfers from accounts where we have balances to take care of those negative balances.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
other board questions? Other board questions? Okay. I thank you, Mr. Guzman.
Thank you.
Now, under old business, to get some more detailed information. Health and safety update, Wendy Shepherd Banish.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, Dr. Thompson. Good evening, board members and the rest of our viewing audience for Bloomfield. Exciting month since April and May as the vaccinations have opened up to our students. So April opened up our 16 and older. It has taken a village to coordinate these vaccinations. So I do want to thank our partners, the West Hartford Bloomfield Health District. We also partnered with Hartford Health, and our Community Leisure Services has extended their collaboration in helping us host these clinics. We wanted to make sure that we hosted the clinics in a venue since our parents have to assist and accompany our students for their vaccinations. We wanted to make sure that we were trying to not disrupt learning, but also make it accommodating for parents and their work schedules. So on April 24th, which was a Saturday, our first clinic for the 16-year-olds was hosted at the Xfinity Center. As Dr. Thompson mentioned, we held one right here in town on May 8th. We have a second dose clinic for that group on May 29th, again at the Community Leisure Center. And we anticipate the exciting news that by that May 29th date, we will be able to open up our vaccinations to our 12 to 15-year-old students. So we have already begun to survey our families on who will be interested, and we are prepared to supply them with the information as soon as we get approval from the state. We know the vaccination committee and the chair of the CDC is set to review and make recommendations on Wednesday and hopefully open up those clinics. So the next clinic for Bloomfield will be May 29th, and then another tentative follow-up for those second dose for 12 to 15-year-olds would be tentatively June 20th right now. So that's what it looks like for our students. We do know that Moderna and Pfizer has also begun their trials for students ages 6 through 11. And we project that that group of students may be approved by the fall. So that's the short but exciting news relative to vaccination updates. As far as state data, there's not too much different to show you. It's been climbing, it's been, steadily trending down. As of May 1st, Bloomfield was just under 2% at 1.9% positivity rate, and the overall state average is around 3% right now. That's my report for this evening, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you. Questions?
I have a quick question.
Mr. Chair.
Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. Wendy, just wondering what the turnout was like for the teen clinic.
So it was not as it did not have the numbers that we hoped. However, what we do know is when they opened up in April, they opened up the vaccination clinics right before the April break, right? So as a parent myself, I will tell you, I certainly did wait for notification from the school district to find a clinic, and we do know that the vaccinations are much widely more available to be able to receive them. So we didn't get as much response as we thought. We're certainly seeing an uptick in the 12 to 15-year-olds with the interest. So we're just going to continue to promote and make accessible the vaccination clinics for all.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair.
Go right ahead.
Wendy, good evening. Two quick questions. What is our percentage of staff and teachers that have had the COVID vaccine at this point? Is that 100%? And my second question, is there going to be a mandate that our students have to have at some point, a COVID-19 vaccine before they can return to school? Or is that on a volunteer basis?
So both very good questions. We cannot tell you definitively who in district, how much of the percentage is vaccinated. I can tell you that we vaccinate for our clinics close to about 70%. And we do know that there was a whole host of other staff members that went outside of our clinics and received vaccinations. So there is a healthy percentage in the district of staff who are vaccinated. In terms of vaccination and what this looks like for all, we know that the vaccination has just been approved for emergency use right now, but we do know that it is trending towards approval very soon, which will make it a mandate. So the exciting news that happened, I think maybe 2 weeks ago now, is the governor actually declared that, so included in student vaccinations, they also made vaccinations for religious exemptions. They took that executive order away. So now any student after that April date who had not had a previous medical exemption will not be able to be exempted from any further needed vaccines that are required by law. So that means if they do require the COVID vaccination by law, students will need to get it. So it is trending towards that to being approved.
Thank you, because I'm still quite concerned that almost every single day we receive, an email from staff that, various individuals have been coming down with COVID. And I think it would behoove all staff, teachers, to make sure that, if they're going to be in contact or coming into school, we at least, get a vaccine. Thank you. That ends my comments. Thank you, Wendy.
You.
And just for the sake of clarity, board members we will get updates from Dr. Thompson as to anybody who has, not by name, but by school, that somebody has COVID. So, and those numbers have gone down dramatically from what we've been doing. But, it is a good question, because most of the colleges have put that mandate in that you can't come to this college if you haven't been vaccinated. So I figured it's just a matter of time before it's going to be at at the school, public school level as well. So, other questions? Yes, go ahead, Lynette.
Thank you. Just real quick. So do we have the percentage of the students or staff who came down, actually just the students who came down with COVID, but they were distance learners? Because I kind of remember that there were a few. So they weren't necessarily students that were coming into the school building. They were distance learners. So I guess less of an effect on the school population.
So I can turn my screen around and I can show you the school data again if you want to review it just very quickly. That's I got it right up in front of me. Oh, I don't have ability to share though, John.
No.
Perfect. Okay, so can't see you, but all can see my screen. So there are your percentages. These are the breakdowns by the school and the percentages by the school. They haven't changed very much over time, but this is by student and by staff member. So you can see that the majority of the percentage is 60% by students. I do believe the next one speaks to your question, Ms. Eastman, and you can see that 30% of the of our cases that we have reported, so overall it's 36, have been remote. As we've come back more full in person, you can see that our percentage now for people who are attending our schools, either 4 or 5 days a week. 5 days a week would be that small cadre of special education kids that were in all 5 days a week, or staff. And then of course, we'll all be back soon, but that's about 60% now.
Thank you.
Other questions? Other board questions? Okay. Wendy, does that conclude?
That concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up, the portrait of a graduate update. Anne-Marie Cullinan.
Thank you. Tonight we have a team presenting on the portrait of a graduate, as Dr. Thompson said. And we have Mr. Teitelbaum with us and Mrs. Glanville. I will give a brief overview of what we have accomplished so far. And then we will talk about steps that we need to complete. We will show you our design team. And finally, we will hear from Mrs. Glanville, really expressing a parent voice on this project. So we are very excited on the project, and we would like to start by thanking you for your input. It took us a while to form the portrait of a graduate design team, as we felt it really needed to be, but we are happy to report tonight that we have parents and business and community members, parent outreach director. We have our teachers represented, our BFEP represented, support services represented. So we really designing our design team to really have a partnership with our community and our families, and to make sure that all of our students who attend our schools are represented in some way on this team, to make sure that we are addressing the whole child and every child that we have in our school district. So on your first page is a comprehensive guide to a portrait of a graduate, and it always begins, the first step is to form that portrait of a graduate design team, which we are very happy to say that we have. We have been working with our membership for the past several weeks. And we really have great insight into where we need to go from everyone's voice who really communicates in our meetings. As Dr. Thompson mentioned, we have engaged community members in discussion. Our meetings are with the Board of Education. We held and we update every month. We met with Town Council, our staff members, our families, our community partners, our higher ed, and faith-based. And you'll hear from Jason as we're having kind of a second rollout to make sure we have even more voices heard. And at our meetings, we really look at, we go through different activities to really study the feedback that we're getting, because this is what it's all about, to make sure that we're using this feedback to help us plan for the future. Because this is kind of like stepping off into what our school district will evolve into based on what we're hearing from our team. So we brainstorm, we vet everything, we analyze our portrait of a graduate feedback, and we plan to have a finished product, at least for this first part of the project, at your June meeting. And we know we still have steps to complete. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Mr. Teitelbaum. He'll talk a little bit about our outreach efforts now as we're going back out into the community, back out into the schools to really get more input.
Thank you,
Jason?
Anne-Marie. Thank you, Anne-Marie, Dr. Thompson, Chairman Harris, Board of Education members, and our viewing audience. I'm just going to quickly review the steps that we have outlined that we want to take before we come and present you with our presentation at our June meeting. So the first step, and we've met with principals about this, is to meet with our students to get their input. Their input is valuable not only in the competencies that they want to see in themselves as Bloomfield Public School graduates, but also those three guiding questions. What are their hopes and dreams? What are their skills and habits of mind that they think they need to be successful? And also, what are the learning experiences that they want as students? Principals from Carmen Aries Intermediate, Carmen Aries Middle, Global Experience Magnet School, and Bloomfield High School are all identifying times to meet and have their teachers review this information with students so that they can have an idea and they can have their voices heard in what they want for themselves in a portrait of a graduate. We are also conducting outreach for greater participation from our community. On Friday, we had a letter from Dr. Thompson and Ms. Glanville that was sent out to all of our families. And we are going to do another round of sending out to our community partners who are unable to attend our forums that we had. So again, that letter from Dr. Thompson and Ms. Glanville will be sent out. And we are working on creating a visual representation so that everyone can see what our portrait of a graduate is. And we actually had a meeting with our design team yesterday that was a very lively discussion among the groups of what they want to see, because we want to get everybody's feedback. And at the meeting, we had representation from our families, from our teachers, from our non-certified teachers, from the business community. So everyone was represented at this meeting, and they continue to be throughout our design team process.
Thank you, Jason. This next sheet is the portrait of a graduate design team. So you could see our parents, our principals and administrators, parent outreach, business and community support services, our BFEP representation, and our BEA representation. And we're very lucky. We've been getting great participation from everyone on the design team. They have made special effort to attend our meetings and to really give us their voice about what they believe is the route that we should take. And finally, on the next page is our parent voice. Mrs. Glanville is a design team member. She's also a parent of a Metacomet Elementary School student, a Carmen Air Race Intermediate School student, a Carmen Air Race Middle School student, and she has a little one coming into Laurel in the fall. So Mrs. Glanville, you're on.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Harris and members of the board. I'm really honored to be here and just to be included in this team. My name is Tiffany Glanville. As Ms. Cullinan mentioned, my husband and I, we have 4 kids, ranging from Cams down to almost soon to be in Laurel. I'm a proud Bloomfield parent, not only, of course, when it comes to my own family, but I'm also inspired by all of the beautiful and capable students on behalf of whom you serve. And I'm really proud of the good work that our schools and the district is doing to ensure that each and every one of them reaches their full potential. So I'm here this evening to speak from a parent's perspective about the Portrait of a Graduate. I think that the district is undertaking this work so seriously and comprehensively in and of itself is reason to be proud and hopeful about our students' bright futures and the impact they're going to make in this world. The initiative, Portrait of a Graduate, it puts the hopes and dreams that we have for our children front and center and examines the core competencies our kids need in order to reach those aspirations. And I'm really thrilled that the district is taking this deep dive into student, family, and community engagement and setting this really important vision for the future. The portrait of a Bloomfield Schools graduate that you adopt at the end of this process will not only inform curriculum and programming at all levels of the district, but more importantly, it will guide the alignment of resources to our hopes and dreams for years to come. And this is why it's so important to have this portrait represent the input of all stakeholders, including the diverse perspectives of families, parents, and guardians. So I just wanted to say I was reminded this week, I was registering my youngest daughter for kindergarten, and I was reminded that she'll be graduating Bloomfield High School in the class of 2034. And that sounds like a really long ways away, and it is. Think about how different the world looks today just from how it looked last year. And then imagine how much different and even almost like unrecognizable it will be in the year 2034. But yet, the Portrait of a Graduate we are creating today will inform the 13-year journey that she is about to embark on in Bloomfield Public Schools. So I'm going to be back here in 13 years to check in about it. And I will plan to see all of you and Dr. Thompson and you too, Mr. Harris, at that point. But in all seriousness, I really do hope to be able to marvel at how lasting and impactful this work was. So I'll just say, particularly right now, when so many of us are exhausted from virtual life, it can feel like a big lift to sit in front of yet another screen at the end of our day to ponder some intangible things. But this work, however, could not come at a more critical time as we all reset around a very different future, emerging from the challenges of the immediate past, but also changed forever by those challenges. So I encourage all of us to take the time with these surveys and sit with them and take the time to dream. And I hope to see an outpouring of parent and guardian input in the weeks to come. Our vision really matters, from the high school level all the way down to pre-K. And I really, really hope to see it shine through. So thank you.
Is that Mrs. Cullinan? Is that it?
That does conclude our report.
Okay.
Mr. Harris, thank you, Mrs. Blanford.
Can I open it for questions?
Yes, sir.
Board members.
Mr. Chairman, I just really have a comment. I want to, certainly at the urging of board member, Ms. Eastman, the parental participation. I saw that letter. All the years I've been here, I've never seen a letter signed by the chairman and a parent going out to the community asking the parents' community to participate in the program. And also I want to commend, and Ms. Ganville, thank you very much. And Dr. Thompson from, I think at CAVE Convention, 2 or 3 years ago, that term was thrown out, Portrait of a Graduate. And it's so good to see the work you've done and your staff to bring us where we are now. So I just want to thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Ms. Eastman, first I've ever seen this type of parental participation since I've been here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Other comments? Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as Mr. Ike just said, I am very grateful. Thank you for listening. I'm happy to see more parental involvement. It's very important, as you all know, to have that parental voice. And also, Ms. Glanville's an excellent choice. I've heard her speak before so passionately about her children and, you know, they're coming up in the Bloomfield school system. So I am happy to have her on board. I think that's awesome selection. And just thank you to everyone for all the work that you're doing to help our students grow and to flourish. It's refreshing to see that, especially now during a time where so many things are, you know, kind of crazy in the world. So thank you for all the extra work that you're putting in to help our students.
Other comments? Other comments? All right, from my standpoint, I thank you, Anne Marie, Jason, and a special thank you to my old friend Tiffany. You know, I've known Tiffany a while, back when she was the vice chair of the Hartford Board of Education. So she's got considerable experience sitting where you all are sitting right now. So I'm glad to see she's still doing her job in education, but now as a parent. Thank you all. Job well done. Okay. Nothing on new business that I know of. Moving on to CABE updates. Nothing really to report regarding my involvement with CABE or anybody's, well, except for, you know, our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee is very active, and we're doing a lot of, there's a survey that hopefully every board member has filled out and returned it back to CABE. We are going out as a body and working with other school districts. And that's about it for CABE. Board comments, Mr. Ike?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Number one, and this is always, I say this every year, good time of the year, May and June, when we recognize our students for their special work they've done throughout the year. Secondly, Dr. Thompson and you, Mr. Chairman, at the annual town meeting, I listened to the annual town meeting last week. Luckily, fortunately, Mr. Guzman was on, that Dr. Thompson had his staff on. Mr. Guzman, I want to commend you. You did a very, very good job. And when that situation came up, when the Councilman Goff wanted to reduce the budget, you came from a professional standpoint, you explained the situation. That's why we hire the professionals. Volunteers are good, but that's why we have the professionals. We pay them to do the professional work. So I want to thank you, Mr. Guzman. And I want to thank interim town manager, Phil Shank. Also, his years of experience, he put it in perspective. But thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Thompson. And also, on registered voters, every year we're required to hold registered voters for students for 17, 18-year-olds in the school system. This year, working with Dr. Thompson and Mr. Guzman, we're going to be off-site June 5th from 9 to 12. All 17, 18-year-olds who are eligible to register to vote, please come out to the leisure services. And I want to thank you, Dr. Thompson and Mr. Guzman, for your help in disseminating that information to the school community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ike. Mrs. Eastman.
Thank you. Just thank you to everyone who gave reports today. They were very helpful, very insightful. Just wanted to send out my thoughts and prayers to the family of Ms. Johnson. That kind of hit close to home for me. She was my daughter's kindergarten teacher. So kind of the first introduction to the Bloomfield school system. And she did an awesome job. She was a fantastic teacher and her presence is going to be missed. Congratulations to all the CABE Leadership Award recipients. Just goes to show that we are doing some things right here in Bloomfield. I'm so proud of our students, especially now, you know, when things are crazy. Like I said before, they're doing a fantastic job in navigating all of this, the pandemic and everything. And let's see. Oh, happy to report that I am fully vaccinated. Was touch and go there for a day, but I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But going through it, it's definitely worth it to get vaccinated, but that second dose is a doozy. That's the end of my comments. Thank you.
Mr. Friedman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What a wonderful meeting tonight. I was just, everything that we went through our agenda, all the positive things that are taking place in our Bloomfield school system. We can all agree that we are all proud of our school system. I also want to congratulate our CABE Award recipients. Great job. And hopefully next year we can, as we always do, we like to shake their hands. So only thing that we couldn't do this year. So hopefully next year we'll be able to achieve that. Welcome to Kenny Wallach, our new Director of Facilities. Kenny, hopefully you can look into, or we can start working on the possibility of updating our own Board of Education facility. I mean, I'd love to see us have a new building there someday on that, over there on Blue Hills Avenue. I want to congratulate, all our upcoming graduates, and I am so proud of all our young people that are continuing with their education, and that education that started here in Bloomfield, and hopefully it will come back and reside in town after they graduate and have a family to once again go through our Bloomfield school system. But I'm proud of all our graduates and all the various colleges and universities that they'll be going to. One other thing I wanted to mention, that I am also proud of our staff, our superintendent, and even our board, and of course our board, that we were so proactive in making sure that our young people had, during this time of COVID, Chromebooks, that they had the ability to make sure that their parents could pick up breakfast and lunch and food services for them, for those that weren't able to get enough nutrition into their family, that we were able to assist. That's one thing that, we were proactive, making sure that our community had those necessities to continue with their education and food. And lastly, once again, proactive, making sure our students are going to be vaccinated. So there's a lot of things that our school takes care of, and I don't think people see that sometimes. So I thank you, Mr. Chair. That ends my comments till next year, and congratulations again to all our graduates.
Thank you. Mrs. Bolton.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Chair. First of all, on a personal note, I would like to say happy belated birthday to my colleague, Lynette Eastman, whose birthday was on Mother's Day. So I think that's just so special. So happy birthday, Ms. Eastman. And also, I would like to just say congratulations again to the CABE Student Leadership Award recipients. I'm like my colleagues, this is my favorite time of the year where we're recognizing students for all their hard work. So congratulations. And I think a couple of students are still on, and I just want to congratulate you again. And then finally, I wanted to just mention that I have thoroughly enjoyed all of the programs for the Harlem Renaissance. The April 29th session was very powerful for me because it, all of them have been very excellent, but this one was a depiction of what teaching and learning looks like in our schools. It was a highlight in curriculum and instruction. And that's something that I don't think we get to see as often as I would like. And especially since we're not able to get into schools as much, I just thought it was a good example for those of us who aren't in the schools to see exactly how some of the programming takes place. So thank you so much, Dr. Thompson and your team, for continuing with the Harlem Renaissance recognition. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's the end of my announcement.
Thank you. And I just want to say a couple words regarding what Mr. Ike mentioned about the town meeting on May 3rd. And, and I thank all the board members who were in attendance on that call when a town council member tried to pull a sneaky one and cut $300,000 out of our budget for wasn't really a good reason. But I have to publicly thank the mayor because it is a town meeting, but she allowed the assistant superintendent, Mr. Guzman, to come on and to explain so that everybody was aware of the financial position that this council member was trying to put the board in. And there was a whole lot of texting that was going on that night and that time during the meeting. So I'm happy that we came through it okay. Again, my congratulations to all of the CABE Student Award recipients. Job well done. I too miss shaking hands with those kids, and this is the second year in a row that we haven't been able to do that. And so my hope is that next year at this time, we'll be able to get up and shake hands and pat them on the back and say, job well done. Just a reminder, we will have our next board meeting is June the 8th, Tuesday, June the 8th. But right after that, high school graduation is going to be in the courtyard on June 16th at 12 noon. And the next day, the GEMS graduation will be in the same high school courtyard on at the 17th at 3 p.m. So try to keep those dates on your calendar, keep them alive. There's the policies and practices of social distancing will be exercised. There will be chairs will be set up in pods, and students will be issued tickets on that basis. So everybody and his uncle won't be able to get in there, but those that are in will feel safe because we will be social distancing and maintaining protocols. And also my congratulations to Kenny Wallach, breath of life, and in our school administration building. So, and anything else? Did I forget anything, Dr. Thompson?
I think you covered it all.
Okay. Okay. At this point, I'll entertain a motion. Mr.
So
Ike,
moved. So moved.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned. Good evening,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Good evening.
Night.
Good night.